Have you ever wondered, what if one narrow waterway could shake the entire global economy overnight? Right now, all eyes are on the Strait of Hormuz, a tiny stretch of water that controls the flow of the world's energy, and in the middle of rising tensions between Iran, the United States, and Israel. This choke point is becoming one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Let's break it down. First, what exactly is the Strait of Hormuz? It has a narrow passage between Iran and Oman that connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. At its narrowest point, it's only about 21 miles wide, but don't let its size fool you. Every single day, nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this one route. That's oil from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and even Iran itself. In simple terms, this is the heartbeat of global energy. If this stops, the world feels it immediately. Now imagine this. Ships stop moving, oil tankers freeze, and within hours, global markets panic. Because if this route gets blocked, oil prices don't just rise, they explode. Prices could jump dramatically in a very short time. And that means higher gas prices, more expensive, food rising inflation, and economic slowdown across the globe. Even countries far away from the Middle East would feel the shock. So the big question is, why is Iran threatening or trying to block the Strait of Hormuz? The answer is simple: power and pressure. When tensions rise, especially during conflict with Israel or after US military actions, Iran uses this strait as a strategic weapon. It's one of the strongest leverage points Iran has against the world. Because if Iran can't win directly in war, it can create global economic pain. And that forces powerful countries to pay attention. But here's the twist. Blocking the strait is not as simple as it sounds. Iran could use naval mines, missile attacks, fast attack boats, or even seize oil tankers, and there have already been moments where shipping traffic dropped due to rising tensions. This shows Iran can disrupt the strait, at least temporarily. But here's the real question. Why hasn't Iran fully shut it down yet? Because doing that would hurt Iran itself. In fact, it might hurt Iran more than anyone else. Iran's own economy depends heavily on oil exports. And guess where that oil travels? Through the same Strait of Hormuz. If they close it, they block their own income. And even worse, their biggest customers would also suffer. And losing those relationships would be a huge strategic mistake. Now let's talk about the United States and Israel. If this strait is so important, why can't they just keep it open? The answer isn't they can, but not easily. The US Navy is powerful enough to respond and reopen the strait if needed, but doing that comes at a cost. Because the moment the US directly intervenes, it risks a full-scale regional war. Iran could retaliate aggressively, and the conflict could spread across the Middle East. So it is not about ability, it is about consequences. Also, modern warfare in this region isn't traditional. Iran doesn't need to defeat the US Navy directly. It can use asymmetric tactics, hit-and-run attacks, drones, naval mines, cyber disruptions. Even small disruptions can scare global shipping companies, and once fear enters the market, ships stop moving. That alone can cause oil prices to spike. Now let's talk about global impact. If the Strait of Hormuz is blocked even temporarily, Asia gets hit first because it depends heavily on Middle Eastern oil. Global inflation rises, stock markets become unstable, shipping costs increase, and supply chains get disrupted. In extreme cases, it could even push the world toward recession. But here's something interesting. The United States is less dependent on this route than before. Because of its own oil production, it relies less on Middle Eastern oil compared to many other countries. So while the US is affected, countries like China, India, Japan, and parts of Europe feel the impact much more. So where does this leave us? Right now, the Strait of Hormuz is not just a waterway, it's a global pressure point. Iran uses it as leverage. The US protects it as a strategic priority, and the entire world depends on it for energy. And here's the reality. A full closure is unlikely to last long. Because if Iran shuts it completely, the world would likely step in to reopen it. But even a short disruption is enough to shake the entire global economy. So the next time you hear about tensions in the Middle East, remember this: it's not just about war. It's about control over one narrow strip of water that holds the power to impact the entire world.